In this video, I'm going to talk about PEMDAS and GEMS. And so these acronyms tell us the order of operations in which we solve for algebraic expressions and just expressions in general. So they both mean the same thing, except the acronyms are a bit different. So the first thing that we take care of is the parentheses, or any groupings that we have. And then the next step is the exponents. And then we do multiplication and division operations after that. And then whenever it's fully simplified, then we can start adding and subtracting like terms to get the final simplified answer for any expression that we have. And so even though the acronyms, they have different letters in them, they both mean the same thing, and they both follow the same order. So let's go through an example here. Let's say I have the absolute value of negative 3 plus 4 times negative 2, so 4 times negative 2 minus 6. The first thing is all of the parentheses and the groupings. So the absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. And this gives me 3 minus 8 minus 6. So there's no exponents and there's no multiplication or division, so we just do the rest of the operations by subtracting. This gives me negative 5 minus 6, which gives me negative 11. So doing another example, let's say that we have the absolute value of negative 10 divided by 10. The first thing that I'm going to do is take care of the absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 10 is just positive 10. And then 10 divided by 10 gives me 1. So notice how we take care of the groups first, and then after that we're left with a division operation, and then when we do that we have our simplified answer. Let's say that we had 5 divided by 18 divided by 10 over 3. So we have two fractions here, and we don't have any parentheses or any exponents, so we go right into the division operation. This is the same as me writing 5 over 18 times 3 over 10. And to multiply fractions, you just go straight across. So I'll have 5 times 3 in the numerator, which is 15, and I'll have 180 on the denominator. And I can simplify this fraction down to 5 over 60. And I can simplify that even further down to 1 over 12. And since I can't reduce this fraction anymore, 1 over 12 is the final answer. So in this case, we only had division operations and multiplication operations to do. Let's say that I had 16 minus 8 divided by 4. The first thing I'm going to do is take care of the things inside of the parentheses. So I have 16 minus 8, which gives me an 8. Now there are no more parentheses and no more exponents, so the only thing left to do is dividing. So 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. And that's going to be the final answer, since we can't simplify this any further. Let's say that I had 6 times 4 minus 2 times 6 plus 8. So in this problem, I have brackets as well. So the parentheses and the group part of the PEMDAS and the GEMS acronyms is going to apply to everything inside of the brackets first. And then we take care of everything outside of the brackets later. So just looking at the stuff inside of the brackets, I notice that I have a 6 plus 8 in parentheses. So that's going to give me 4 minus 2 times 14. And then the next thing that I do is the multiplication step inside the brackets. So I'm going to have 6 times 4 minus 28 inside the brackets. And then the last thing to do inside the brackets is the subtraction. So I'm going to have 6 times 4 minus 28. So that's going to be 6 times negative 24. And then when you carry out this operation, you end up with negative 144. Let's say that I had negative 4 times 16 minus 3 times 7 minus 10. So like the example before, I'm going to take care of everything inside of the brackets first and apply PEMDAS or GEMS to everything inside of the brackets before I move on to stuff outside of the brackets. So I have a parentheses inside the brackets, so I'm going to take care of that first. So I end up with negative 4 times 16 minus 3, and 7 minus 10 gives me a negative 3. And then a negative 3 times a negative 3 gives me a positive 9. So I end up with 4 times 16 plus 9 inside of the brackets. And then the last step inside of the brackets is the addition step. So I end up with negative 4 times 25. And then now the only thing left for me to do is to multiply these two together. So negative 4 times 25 gives me an answer of negative 100. Let's say that I had this expression. So I have x over 5 plus 7x over 12. So I have two fractions that I'm adding together, so I'm going to need to find a common denominator. And the easiest way to do that is to multiply the two denominators together. So what I end up with is something over 60 plus another something over 60. And to get the two top numbers, what I'm going to do is multiply together, do cross multiplication. So the first number is going to be x times 12, which is just 12x. And then the second number is going to be 7x times 5, which gives me a 35x. And now that the denominators are the same, I can combine these fractions. And to combine the two top numbers, all you have to do is add. So I have 35x plus 12x, which gives me a 47x. And since this number is not going to be reducible, because 47 is a prime number, and it definitely does not go into 60 evenly, this is our final answer. So notice how we carried out the addition step after we got through manipulating the fraction using multiplication. So the order of operations still holds true here. One last example. Let's say I have 9 over x divided by 1 over 6. So I have two fractions that I'm dividing. And what I know is that this is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So this is the same as me writing 9 over x times 6 over 1. And to multiply the two fractions, all you have to do is go straight across. So 9 times 6 gives me a 54 on the numerator, and x times 1 just gives me an x on the denominator. So notice how I don't have any parentheses and I don't have any exponents, so I just go right into the division operation. And it turns out that the only thing that I have to do is that division operation in order for this to be fully simplified. So I hope this video was helpful about learning PEMDAS and the order in which we do operations through examples. So the first thing that we do is always the parentheses or the groups. Any brackets or absolute value or parentheses that you have, you do those first and everything inside them first. And then you do any exponents if you have them. And then you carry on multiplication and division steps. And then by the time that's all over, then you're just going to have a bunch of things that you add and subtract together to get your final answer. And this is the order of operations that we carry throughout the entire algebra course or any calculus course that you'd be taking. This is the easiest way to simplify expressions.